Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turned out to poem 594, The Battle Fought Between the Soul. Now, this idea of the battle takes us back to conversations already as it relates to Civil War poems. You'll remember that we mentioned this when we were talking 409 and 426. And we're going to see it again in 596. But I want you to recall our study of 444. Do you guys remember when we played this game together and her study of the Civil War? It feels ashamed to be alive when men so brave are dead. One envies the distinguished dust permitted such a head. The stone that tells defending whom this Spartan put away, what little of him we possessed in pawn for liberty. The price is great, supremely paid. Do we deserve a thing that lives like dollars must be piled before we may obtain? Are we that weight sufficient worth that such enormous pearl as life dissolved be for us in battles horrid, bold? I want you to pay attention to that word battle. It may be a renown to live. I think the man who died, those unsustained saviors, present divinity. Now, we'll study this poem again here in a bit when we do 596. But I just want to point out right away, the battle fought between the soul, the title of this poem, is in fact the battle that Emily will consider not the physical battle, but the spiritual battle. You'll remember in poem 529, I'm sorry for the dead today, she says. And in that regards, let's assume our assumptions here, that you've already worked with us at learnstrong.net, down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already paid attention to our set of introductory comments as well as the preceding 593 poems. We just finished with 593. I think I was enchanted. And if you have done that, you'll be able to place this poem alongside another ones as well. By the way, we have often said that reading a poem like this is a great way to read Walt Whitman's Drum Tap section. We gave full lectures on all of the poems in the deathbed edition of Whitman's Leaves of Grass of 1892. We call that series Talks with Walt. And I think a poem like this can help us, in fact, to engage in our study of drum taps. Now, standing behind, I believe, this poem is in large measure the Ephesians 6:12 passage. What is it Paul says there? For, quote, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers, or the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And I think there's an attempt by Emily to maybe respond to the Ephesians 6:12 verse. Let's read. The battle fought between the soul and no man is the one of all the battles prevalent, by far the greater one. No news of it is had abroad. Its bodiless campaign establishes and terminates invisible, unknown, nor history recorded, as legions of a night. The sunrise scatters, these endure, enact, terminate. It is interesting that she uses this word terminate twice. I think Emily is very interested in the tension or the real battle, the real fighting. Ironically, of course, she will write this while America is tearing itself apart, quite literally, as well as, of course, metaphysically. The battle fought, notice, between the soul and no man. As we've commented, 67 different poems, Emily references the soul, is the one of the battles prevalent, by far the greater one. In other words, the real challenge in life is not the physical, but rather the, how does one call it, spiritual or emotional, intellectual battles. And then she seems to be gesturing towards the news that everyone's waiting for, obviously, during the war itself, the Civil War. No news of it is had abroad. In other words, nobody knows. Its bodiless campaign, again, bodiless takes us back to the Ephesians 6:12 passage, establishes and terminates invisible, unknown, and again, just lifting directly from her reading of the King James Version of the Bible, Ephesians 6:12. Notice she'll finish then by saying, it isn't about history. This never ends up in history. History doesn't record it as legions of a night. In other words, it's not like one of the great battles of the Iliad, for example. The sunrise scatters. We're going to get to the sunset in the next poem. The sunrise scatters. These endure. In other words, it's, of course, a reference to the Psalm passage, Joy in the Morning. The idea is that the sunrise comes, it goes, days go by. This is different from physical battles. Intact, she says, enact and terminate. In other words, these are the battles that ultimately we have to fight and get ourselves through. I think that's the message of 2a. The real battle in life is the one, of course, that one never can see outside. It's always the interior. At 2b, the language of war, I think, here is powerful in the experience of war. At 3a, the other Civil War poems of 409, 426, we'll get to 596. I like to think about Spenser's Fairy Queen as it relates to this. Go back to our study at learnstrong.net of that classic, where, of course, Spenser is playing a similar kind of allegorical game, and of course we can think of Milton's Paradise Lost along the same lines. Finally, at 3b, what is for you the hardest battle that you have had to enjoy? And was it a spiritual or was it a physical battle? Thank you.